Episode 6 You Don't Get to Understand Me. Flashback, following the hospital confrontation. The tension between them didn't fade. It thickened. Like humidity before a storm. In class, they sat 2 rows apart, pretending the other didn't exist. In the dorm, they moved around each other like shadows, silent, calculating, sharp. But beneath the surface, the air was electric. Gym, late evening practice. Coach shouted instructions as the team ran defensive drills. The sound of squeaking shoes, thudding basketballs, and heavy breaths filled the court. Chen Yu moved with machine-like control. Wei, today, was reckless. Faster. Sharper. His passes had more bite than accuracy. It didn't take long for them to clash. Literally. On a fast break, Chen Yu cut across the paint for a block. Wei drove in, too hard. Shouldered him mid-air. Chen Yu stumbled, caught himself before falling. Whistles blew. "Hey, watch it," the captain yelled. But Chen Yu didn't say anything. He straightened, brushed past Wei, and muttered. "Still trying to get attention the only way you know how." Wei froze. He turned slowly. "I thought ignoring people was your thing." Chen Yu didn't look back. Not when they're not worth the silence. Locker room, after practice. Silence. Except for the dull clank of lockers and the hum of showers in the back. Wei sat on the bench, towel around his neck, arms crossed. Chen Yu pulled his shirt over his head, expression blank. "You know," Wei said finally, "you act like I'm some spoiled brat who doesn't get it." Chen Yu closed his locker. "You don't." Wei scoffed. "Yeah? And you think being cold makes you deep?" Chen Yu stepped closer, not threatening, just firm. Controlled. "You're loud because you want to matter. I'm quiet because I don't expect to." Wei's chest tightened. He looked away, jaw clenched. "Maybe if you let people in once in a while." Chen Yu cut him off. "And maybe if you stop pretending you care, you wouldn't be so confused." The words landed like a slap. Wei didn't reply. Couldn't. Dorm, that night. They didn't speak. Wei lay in bed, headphones in, volume off. Chen Yu sat at the desk, pretending to study. But neither of them were focused. They weren't just roommates anymore. They were rivals. Enemies. Familiar strangers with too much in common and too many walls between them. Narrator. It wasn't love. It wasn't even hate. It was pride. Fear. Pain wrapped in sarcasm. 2 boys who couldn't stand each other. Because deep down, they were starting to see too much of themselves in the other. Echoes of normal. Flashback, 1 week later. The lunch bell rang, echoing down the halls in bursts of chatter and half-finished sentences. Chairs scraped against the floor. Shoes slapped against tile. The classroom emptied in waves, first the loud ones, then the stragglers. Chen Yu stood slowly, slinging his bag over one shoulder without a word. He didn't wait for anyone. Didn't say anything. Didn't look at anyone. He moved like someone who had somewhere to be, even if he didn't want to be there. Li Wei watched from the second row. He hadn't said a word to Chen since that night, the soy milk incident, the rejection, the silence that followed. But he had noticed things. Chen Yu's hoodie was always the same now, black, slightly frayed at the cuffs. His lunch tray usually returned half full. He never stayed long after class. Never hung out with the team. Never smiled. "What happened to you, Chen Yu?" Yo, you spacing out again? Zhong Lei elbowed him lightly. Wei blinked. What? You're staring like you're in a drama. What is it this time? Existential crisis? Heartbreak? The cafeteria running out of dumplings. Wei rolled his eyes and shoved him playfully. Shut up. I was thinking. About your girl or your grades. Wei smirked. Neither. Their other friend, D.A. Slong, dropped into the seat across from them with a loud sigh. Coach added laps again. I swear he's trying to kill us. Or make you sweat enough to lose weight, Zhong Lei said with a grin. Wei laughed, but his eyes still drifted toward the classroom door. Chen had left early. Again. Courtyard, after class. A breeze stirred through the courtyard, kicking up dust and fallen petals. Wei sat on a stone bench with the others, half listening to their conversation about weekend plans and math homework. He sipped his drink slowly, distracted. That's when he saw Chen. Just for a second, walking past the outer fence. Not with the others. Not heading toward the dorms. Just away. That direction again. Same time. Same silence. Same escape. He knew where Chen was going. Hospital room, that evening. Chen sat beside his mother's bed, barely breathing. Her face was paler than last week. The nurse had just left after adjusting before. He'd nodded politely, offered a faint thank you, and sat down again. The bag of apples he'd brought sat untouched at the corner of the table. His mother was asleep. Or trying to be. Chen leaned forward, resting his arms on his knees, hands clasped tightly. She stirred slightly, and he immediately straightened, brushing a strand of hair away from her forehead. His touch was gentle. Controlled. She opened her eyes for a moment. Tried to speak. He shook his head with a small smile. Just rest. Her fingers twitched in his grasp. She closed her eyes again. Narrator. He never told anyone about these visits. Not his teammates. Not his friends. Not even his father. Because there was nothing to say. It wasn't a story. It was just life. Hard. Quiet. Unfair. Dorm night. Wei sat at his desk, textbooks open, untouched. He could hear Chen moving behind him, carefully, like he didn't want to be noticed. The sound of the bed creaking. The rustle of a plastic bag. Wei turned slightly. Did you eat? He asked without looking directly. Silence. Then Chen's voice, rough, don't start. Wei clenched his jaw. It was a question. And I answered. Wei didn't push it. Not tonight. But something inside him was shifting. He wasn't teasing anymore. He wasn't even mad. He was just watching. And for the first time, he wasn't sure if he wanted to know the answers anymore.